sola página. En la corbata no puedo más. Libre para que no se note nada. No te haya pedido.
Ahí, ¿se oye? Sí. Que se acopla. No. Está funcionando. Hello, good morning. In this third day of our pilot action 3, Green Ports, I hope that there will be no problems with the connection from Gothenburg in Sweden. Good morning to the students in Chalmers University. Good morning to the students in Bremen in Jacobs University that I hope they will be following us. Good morning to the students in Scotland in Napier University and our students in Greece, in Athens, and in Genova and in Lisbon. Today there is bad news in Genova. There has been a big collision of a ship with the control tower in the port of Genova. So we are very sorry for that, and I imagine our colleagues from Genova will be worried and seeing what happened or what were the reasons for that disastrous accident that has had some casualties, unfortunately. Today, this first class, Mr. José García de la Guía and Eva Pérez from Fundación Valencia Port, they are participating in a large number of 20 programs connected to motorways of the sea. Eva and José, they have been coordinating, among others, the very important program MoS for MoS, which is already finished, and they will make us a presentation or a series of presentations of the different parts of this important TEN-T program and of other programs linked both to motorways of the sea and to the concept of green ports. So thank you very much, Eva. Thank you very much, Jose. I leave you the floor, and thank you for helping us in our program.
Okay, thank you very much, Jose Luis. I hope you can hear me well, and good morning. My name is Jose Garcia. I come from Port of Valencia Authority. I'm the responsible of the port community system. So I'm in charge of the e-commerce platform in the Port of Valencia. First, we'll divide the class in two parts. In the first part, we are going to present who we are, the Port of Valencia, what we have done in terms of IT, and which is the functionality of our port community system, and why we are involved in all these IT projects, so in TEN-T programs as in other programs as framework programs for research, med cooperation programs, and so on, and some others. And in the second part, we are going to present the MoS for MoS project, the pilots we made in that project, and which were the results, which is, I think, is the most important for today. Port of Valencia is located in the east coast of Spain, as you can see in the picture. And we are going to talk about several things in this third part. First, the Valencia port as the leading South European port for containers. Which are the challenges we are working on nowadays for ports? Why there's a need for port community systems, and why the ports should work on this way? And I think most of the large European ports are working on this item. and what we have done in Valencia Port PCS.net, which has been the link from the port to the TNT cooperation MoS for MoS. Port of Valencia has had nearly all continuous growth in terms of throughput in the port in terms of tons. From year 1994 to year 2012, going over 66 million tons. 78% of the tonnage in the port has been done with containerized general cargo, 12% with non-containerized general cargo, and there's a small part, less than 10%, with solid bulk and liquid bulk, which is reducing day by day also in European southern ports. If we talk in terms of TEUs, in terms of containers, we've had a continuous growth, only stopped in year 2009 because of the European crisis. Despite the crisis, we went on this way, and we are still growing. We are over 4.4 million TEUs per year, and we are now the 30th port in the world in year 2011 in terms of container, just the first in the Mediterranean, the 5th in Europe, and the 30th in the world. So that's where we are. It has been difficult to get here, but the most difficult thing is to stay there. In year 2001, we defined the strategic plan for the port, which has been reviewed last year, focusing the strategy of the port in 4 basic axes. On axis number 2, efficiency on port services, we have very clear that we have to improve the competitiveness of the port services, from mooring to pilots to road transport to railway to port or terminal operation. Everything must be, any one of them, more efficient. And the way to coordinate them and to make the big black box that has to be the port for the importer and exporter, the way to coordinate that is with IT. We have the focus of being a digital port. As you must know, the evolution of the traffic in the ports has been huge in the last year, because we've had a big revolution in how we make the things in the ports. Until the 1956, all traffic was done, as we know nowadays, as conventional traffic. We had multi-purpose terminal, just the docks, doing everything for each vessel, no matter which kind of cargo they had. Very inefficient operation with high use of human resources. Large transit times, a vessel could be 1 month, 1 month and a half in a port, many vessels in the port not operating, and extremely low level of security. All this was changed by the container. The container has made that we have now specialized terminal, high technology operation, new generation cranes, less use of human resources, shorter transit times. I can tell you that now in Port of Valencia, a typical operation of a big vessel moving around 5,000 TEUs is less than 24 hours. So they don't stay in the port much. They want to increase the rotation of the containers and the rotation of the vessels to do more traffic with less investment. And the level of security has increased. Container has made much easier the operation, much more efficient the operation, but the management of information and how to prepare it is enormously complex. In the old times, complex administration, complex operations, simple management. Now we have simple management, more efficient, but very complex information flow. Going on that, we have to manage big amount of information for each vessel. In the year 1996, it looked like prehistory. It's only some years ago. We were with the biggest container vessel in the world could carry 6,000 TEUs. Nowadays, we have 14,000 and 15,000 TEU vessels traveling on the sea. And at the end of this year, the first 18,000 TEU vessel will be sailing from the Far East to Europe. Okay, so the operation of these vessels, the commercial action of these vessels, sales, management, is extremely complex. So we have to be efficient there in order to have efficient operation in the port, efficient release of the containers, efficient transport, etc. I can make a simple comparison of how we have changed in 10 years. In the year of 2002, we have these numbers. 7,000 vessels called Port of Valencia in the year 2002. And in 2012, less vessels. If we talk about the GT of the vessels, 96 million year 2002, more than 200 million GT of the vessels in year 2012. Vessels now, vessel average size is more than double than 10 years ago. That means that many big vessels have been launched and many old vessels have stopped working despite they are not on the end of the standard life of a vessel. Okay? The business is changing a lot in terms of container management. If we talk about container vessels, we have less than 2,000 calls, and we have now more than 3,000 calls per year. So container traffic is increasing a lot in number of vessel calls, also in the number of, I'll focus on the commercial traffic, import-export traffic, 1.35 million import-export containers in the year 2002, more than 2 million 2012. Okay, that means that we have now a growth of 40% of the information we have to manage. The same we can see in the, for instance, in an indicator with many times it's very difficult to calculate for the ports. We have 900,000 road gate operations, releases and admittances of containers through the gates in the port year 2002, and 1.7 million road gate operations in year 2012. That means we have nearly the double of trucks going in and out of the port, of containers going in and out, and all these have to be managed and administrated. Okay, the average operation of TEUs per vessel, 900 TEUs per vessel in operation. Year 2002, 1,400 TEUs per vessel. Year 2012, 50% more. That means that we have 50% more complexity on each vessel. That is telling us, I want to be in the port less time than before, doing much more operations. And these containers have to be released or have to be picked in the same time as before. So you cannot grow 50% in infrastructure in 10 years so simple. So with the same, nearly the same infrastructure, you have to manage it better. Okay? Have to be more efficient. Another indicator we have, 8 days, it was attained, the average time of stay of the containers in the port, if we talk about import, okay, now it's only 48 hours, less than 2 days, the average of stay of the import containers in the port. That means that you need all the information, customs declaration, authorization, transport order, and all the electronic documents traveling there, which have to be electronic. Any other way, that number of 48 hours is not possible. An example of the average vessel year 2002 calling to Valencia, MSC Carolina, a typical 5,000 TEU vessel. And this is the typical vessel coming from the Asia service, MSC Melatilde, 40,000 vessel. You can compare the size if you see the cranes more or less the same. I try to do similar scale of photos. This is a 385 meters long vessel. Okay, if you think that a TEU is 6 meters long, Okay, put one container after the other on a road, and you can see you can go from Valencia to Madrid halfway with this container. So all this complexity has to be managed, and with this technology. In order not only in each or every of the actors involved in the business, but also between the actors. And you have there the port community systems. Maybe you have heard many times the port community system concept, but it's not a common understanding. There are many different definitions, and each port understands the PCS in its own way. But with this slide, we try to help you to define your own idea of PCS. For instance, with the target, which is the user target of the PCS. Maybe you have the port operators, the authorities, port authority, customs, etc., shipping lines, line agents, NGOTCs, container depots, inland transport operators, never mind the way, forwarders, logistic operators, inland terminals, customs brokers, shippers, etc. Okay, you have to define who is going to be the user of the system. You have to define which is the business model. If it's fully private, okay, some of them are in the north of Europe. If it's mixed, private, and if it's public owned, you have to define if it's locally owned or if it belongs to national authorities. This can be the example, for instance, in Spain, and national authorities is the example in the Netherlands, for instance. Okay. It depends on your country and your ports and how you make the business. You have to define which is your operational model, which is a more IT thing, if you operate yourself, you have it outsourced, etc. And which kind of services you are offering. Just on operations, extending a TOS functionality. If you focus on business to government single window, okay, that which is, for instance, the typical PCS focus from Italy, or you have a wide range one, as can be the one, for instance, in Germany. But all this technology, why? What for? Maybe you remember this advertisement from Pirelli Tires saying power is nothing without control. Okay, I can tell you that technology is nothing without improving efficiency. That means that you have to apply technology just where it's needed. Many times we tend to say, okay, I'll use this technology because it's good. Okay, it's good, what for? Then I'll try to show you some things about our PCS, of what we have done in Valencia in the last year. We'll try to see the port community as a whole. We'll try to see how it helps to the vessel operation, to the cargo load and unload, to the container getting out and out of the port, how can it be managed, and how it helps to the security and control of the port, which is something very important, even more in the last decades as the security has become a major factor in the ports. Our philosophy is that these tools, these IT tools, must be used as a round table with all the port community around. All these actors are working in the port community. From a very small truck company with just one truck driver to a very big shipping agency or container terminal, authorities, customs, freight forwarders, container depots, all of them, railway operators, all of them are involved in the same business. And the business is import and export. We must not forget that the ports are just one piece of a big chain. We have to do as efficient as possible the port just to offer a service to the importer and the exporter, which are the final customer. We've been working on this philosophy since the 1980s, okay? And our focus has been from inside to outside. We began automatizing internally, not only the port authority, but trying the other actors to be automatized IT systems. This is very obvious now, but in the year 1982 it was not so obvious. Okay, managing a container terminal has always had a IT task there, but managing a road terminal, it was made completely by paper in 1995. We haven't had to go so far. After that, we analyzed the port at the beginning of the 90s, and we saw that we had some bottlenecks. We analyzed the flow of the goods on import and export, and we found 4 points where we have to improve. Cargo manifest had to be sent to the single window of the Port Authority. Customs declarations had to be sent to customs. Okay, all that was made in paper until 1995. The vessel call and its authorization was an extremely complex process, all made by paper with several authorities. And the dangerous goods management authorization, which had to go also to 2 different authorities for looking for seals and different papers. All this was made electronic with EDI procedures, okay, and was the first step to the digital port. After that, we decided to build our first port community system in 1999. I think we went ahead of the market, and we tried to use the beginnings of the internet technology that moment, which wasn't ready for this kind of things. Okay, but we had the first version and it worked well enough. In the year 2006, we began the construction of the PCS we have now. It has been done with open architecture, with Microsoft.NET solutions, that it could be Java Enterprise Edition or any other technology. But the key thing is that it is open. It is ready to send and receive any kind of information to any kind of agent. It can connect to the central system of customs online to get all the information of the customs status of the goods going through the port. And it can also pick a small piece of information of an RFID reader at the gate of a terminal. Okay? All this information is worked through the system. I don't want to go first to the functionalities of the system, just telling you that it's a single environment for the users. Okay? Trying to make a common understanding of how information is managed all through the processes in the port. Okay, working on the philosophy of port community systems. This is the map of services of our PCS. Okay, on the top, on the color squares, we have what we call operational services. The services where the user does something, includes information. And at the bottom, we have the horizontal services or non-operational services, which are the ones that get information from other services and from other different sources and mix it and add value. Okay, we have focused the C-oriented services linked to the carriers. We have the port services, call management, dangerous goods management, vessel load and unload management, authorization, and these kind of things. All relation with customs. Okay, all the traceability of customs is there. And the land side of the business with all the road transport and the railway transport. Unfortunately, the river in Valencia cannot be used for transport. It's an extremely small one, and we don't have inland water. Okay, but it could be used also. Okay, and especially in the horizontal services, in the track and trace service, we have an information management of all the events generated in the other service. At the end, what we want with this platform is to add value to really add value specific for any one of the users in the port community. All of them has to get value from the platform. Any other way, we are not doing the right thing. We have 475 companies working today in this platform with different profiles, shipping agents, freight forwarders, road and rail carriers, port terminal operators, empty container depots, public administration, and some others in a miscellaneous. Okay, these are the profiles we have. If you add them, it's more than 475 because there are some companies which have more than one profile. For instance, a freight forwarder can be also a road carrier, a very typical one. Okay, the main figures in the year 2012, we had more than 30 million messages, 30 million transactions through the platform. Some examples, more than 56,000 work orders for loading and unloading vessels, 56,000 lists of containers, cars, or cargo pieces to be loaded and unloaded from a vessel, from a very small list of one container to another of 5,000. We have 1.1 million container movements at the gates, which is 1.7 million TEUs. We have, as information going to administration, dangerous good notification, more than 150,000 last year, and more than 9,000 authorization of vessel calls. It's not for calls, it's for operations of vessels in the port. Okay, in one call we can have more than one because a vessel goes to 2 different terminals. Okay. At the end, this platform works for public administration, for port operations, for port logistics, trying to improve several processes that I will try to show you. For instance, on the first, how to improve vessel operation. Port Authority shares with the maritime authorities an AIS technology-based system to manage all the vessels entering and staying at the Port of Valencia, which you can see here. And this system is synchronized with the PCS for all the information of vessels coming and going. All the berths and anchorages are requested through our platform electronically, and also all the operations with pilots, tags, and mooring services. All this is requested and authorized through the platform. And with one single point of contact, the operator, the shipping line, has contact with all the administrations. Port Authority, Maritime Authority, Customs, Police, etc. Because with the simple act of saying, okay, I'll be there in 2 weeks, doing that, it's asking for permission to enter the Spanish waters to the Maritime Authority, is asking for the berth to the Port Authority and to the container terminal also, or the bulk terminal, or which kind of terminal it's going to operate. It sends the first pre-notification to customs saying this vessel is coming here with international traffic and this is the operator of the vessel, you're going to receive in the next days a declaration. And since that moment, files in customs and Port Authority are synchronized. Okay, also a report to the police for the passenger list and the crew list and these kind of things that have to be managed at the frontier, because we don't have to forget that the port is the frontier of the country. I can tell you that more than 99.5 vessel codes in Port of Valencia are managed through the PCS, and these systems are both synchronized, okay, identifying exactly who is coming, when, and etc. Okay. Also, the system sends vessel arrival information automatically to the importers. Maybe it's not so obvious, okay, that having this information online is so important. It's so important because in Spain you cannot send the customs declaration until the vessel is in the port. And if you had to pick the first day in the port, you must know that. okay, to send automatically the customs declaration. I can tell you that around 90% of customs declarations are sent to customs in the first 24 hours after the vessel goes to the port. So this is the start of the procedure of import customs management. Coming from an operational service, so the good thing here is that coming from an just operational services saying vessel is coming to the port, starts a procedure which feeds information to many people. In this procedure, okay, we have established a single window between port authority and customs, in which we share information through the TCS of both authorities. The maritime agent, the shipping line, sends the summary declaration of the cargo that they are going to unload from the vessel, and the customs agents, once the vessel is in the port, send the customs declaration, which are crossed with the summary declaration of the vessel. Okay, so Port Authority and Customs have both of them two different incomes of information to check. So there's a double check of the information. So safety and security are increased. Okay, Customs and Port Authority exchange information about goods, customs declaration and summary declaration of vessel. 100% of the cargo in the port is managed electronically through this system. Okay, so customs declaration can be made electronically in the moment the vessel is in port. We knew the vessel is in port. The summary declaration has to be before the vessel arrives, and both Customs and Port Authority can cross this cargo information from different sources. Okay, so everything is online for everyone. Moving to just what it is the operation, all the carriers in Valencia send the orders for terminals to load and unload the vessel through the TCS. Okay? And all the terminals receive this information, these work orders, also through the TCS. That has some good consequences for everyone. You can say, okay, I'm carrier 1, I work with terminal 1, then I just send to the terminal, but it has more things to say. More and more, as the port grows and we have more terminals, carriers use not only one terminal, or they change from one terminal to another in some months. Okay, they can negotiate with the terminals. Prices of operation are getting lower, so they can choose where they are working. But they don't have to change anything in their system. They just send to the PCS the same way. They don't depend on the terminal operating system the terminal has installed. So the work for them becomes independent of the TOS and the terminal has. Once we established that, we said, okay, how can we add more value to the chain in the system? And we said, okay, there's a process which is the check of exports that is done by customs, which is a manual process. Okay, these list orders sent to the terminals have to be checked by customs to see if all the containers in the list have the custom authorization. Maybe you don't believe, but until the year 2007, that was made manually. Okay, now it's made automatically to the system. Okay, so customs police receives cargo export list in the PCS at the same time that the container terminal, but not only at the same time. They see the same. They see the same that the shipping line. Everyone shares the same piece of information. This list is automatically crossed with the customs declaration authorizations that we have online from the Spanish Central Customs System. No authorization paper is needed, no paper there. If the system says the container is authorized, it is just because central custom system says it's authorized. No one matters the paper. So now checking a 5,000 movements list, which is something that happens very often, takes only 3 minutes. Just opening the computer, opening the application and say, okay, it's all right, yes it is, or it's not. Okay, before that, at least 4 hours were needed checking paper. And that was in the best case. And every time you do a check, which is made manually, you can have many mistakes. Here, there are no mistakes. So this has improved a lot the export procedure in the code. For the containers in the terminal, for the containers going to the terminals, 99% of them are managed electronically. All this road transport is managed electronically. In the Port of Valencia, they have a single electronic document that we call transport order that includes a release order, admittance order, and all the documents they need for the terminals, for the container depots, etc. Okay, we have a quality agreement in the port community defining the procedure we have to cover. Okay, and the system just goes to that. Okay, all the information is in the terminal system before the truck arrives in there. So when the truck arrives in there, the container terminal knows what they have to do with this truck. Okay? Before that, it was all in paper, and the first news the container terminal had was the paper that the truck driver is giving them. And it took at least 5 minutes to decide what to do with this truck and go in there. Now, we say it's 35 seconds, but it's even less, because most container terminals in the port now have automatized the gates. Just using the ID code of the document or a barcode you can see here, they check automatically, and the gates are unattended. Okay, just for incidents. An example of figures: Noatum terminal, which is the largest terminal in Port of Valencia, moving around 2 million TEUs per year. Now they have just 4 gates open, 4 automatic gates. And the throughput is much higher than they had before with 10 manual gates. Okay, so they have no queues at the terminal gates. We have also used the information in the PCS and other systems, and this will be linked with the MoS for MoS initiative. Okay, we have defined and built a container and non-container also automatic gate for the port. In Port of Valencia, we have gates in all the terminals, which are the operational gates. We have also a single gate at the south of the port for all the goods entering or departing from the port. These gates have automatic operation, OCR recognition of the plate of the truck, container number, or any other IDs. Okay, it has also radiation detection and RFID readers in order to have all the information on the truck. They are connected to the PCS, these gates. They know everything before. They check which is the truck. It's connected to customs. So the release of the goods from the port and information to customs to see if it's authorized or not is automatic. So everything is automatic there. OCR gates are linked to the customs through the PCS. The truck gets to gate and the system questions, okay, what happens with this truck? I have the plate, the container number. Is the truck in a container list? In the container list of operations? Yes. Is the truck in a blacklist of the traffic authorities? At the moment, we are not doing anything with that, just informing the road police, okay, to go there. But we can let them go. And we check also the radiation level in an agreement we have with the United States Nuclear Agency. And the gate opens in less than 3 seconds. The truck nearly doesn't stop at the gate. Okay? Here we say pilot just because of the blacklist operation. All the other is in real operation. And just for adding value to the port community, we have established a full track and trace service, which has a part which is open to the internet if any one of you want to check. Okay, we take all the information coming from the carriers through international platforms or through the authorities, port authority, micro authority, customs, all the events generated in the platform. We put all of them together in a single database. We have all the documental events in the port. We have the logistic events in the port and in the foreland. For instance, if an import container is loading on the original vessel coming to Valencia, we have these events here. Okay, the user can use some criteria to ask for the events, like container number, BL or booking number, vessel call ID. Okay, just to check that. And they can get all the information through the website you can see on the slide, through email, RSS or SMS subscription. Okay, I can make a subscription for a container number to my email and, for instance, to my customer's email. And since that moment, everything that happens to this container is automatically sent real time to this email. Okay, yeah, for you to know everything. At the end, why we did the PCS, managing complexity, increasing efficiency, and enhancing the competitiveness on the port. For every euro we have invested in IT in the port, we say we have saved more than 10 euros in terms of operation. When we defined the South Public Terminal for containers operated by Noatum at the beginning, the plan was that this terminal, at the end of the development, will be capable of managing 1.5 million TEUs. Now they are moving 2 million TEUs and still growing. And they are working with a good throughput and no problems in the operation. So I think that IT has got a big role in that way. That was all of presenting Valencia and the PCS. Now we can move to the MoS presentation. My colleague Eva Perez will go with it.
Good morning, my name is Eva Perez and I work for Valencia Port Foundation. We have been the coordinating project office supporting the actions, MoS for MoS, and supporting the Port Authority of Valencia, who has been the coordinator of this 10 project. So in this presentation we'll first have a quick overview of the project, then we'll examine the 5 different activities that have been carried out. The first activity involved doing a master plan for this 10 global project, so for MoS, but in the medium and long term. So we'll have a look at the main results that we obtained in this process of strategic planning. Then in section 4, I'll leave the floor again to Jose Garcia, who has been coordinating, has been the project leader and coordinator of MoS for MoS, and he'll be explaining the 15 different initiatives that have been prototyped, piloted, and demonstrated to the public as part of this project. And then in section 5, we'll examine the main results of the cost-benefit analysis that has been done to assess the net benefits that could be obtained from the implementation of all these initiatives. And in section 6, we'll see the final strategic map and how the process of quality control and key performance indicators have reflected in the strategic map, looking at the achievement of objectives in this project. Finally, we'll leave you with a general video covering the most general results of the project. So having a look at having a quick overview of the project, MoS stands for Monitoring and Operation Services for Motorways of the Sea. It is a project that has been co-financed by the European Union as part of the Trans-European Network for Transport. We submitted the proposal to the Motorways of the Sea call in 2010. The project started in March 2011 and it has lasted for 14 months. So it finished at the end of May last year. This project has been carried out in a context where, as all of you know, maritime transport has been a main driver for socio-economic development and prosperity in Europe. And you know as well, the European Commission is trying to bring forward a number of initiatives, such as e-customs, e-freight, and e-maritime policies, all of them aiming at reducing the administrative burden for trade in Europe and trying to move into electronic transactions and operations and decreasing the number of paper documents that still need to be exchanged by all the different operators working in this sector. As Professor Valente de Oliveira, the European coordinator for Motorways of the Sea, has said in his final report in 2009, the 10T for Motorways of the Sea should support actions perfectly connected to the market's needs and to the stakeholders in order to be able to play its expected role and help trigger development. We believe that MoS has been doing exactly that, as the partnership, the number of private partners and public authorities that have participated in this project were perfectly aware of the problems that were still affecting Motorways of the Sea, and we're trying to address those market needs and move forward, bringing solutions to the market. So the general goal of the project has been to design and demonstrate a set of prototypes, 15 in total, that will provide interoperable monitoring and operation services to companies integrating door-to-door, it's very important to remind you, for door-to-door Motorways of the Sea corridor. So we've developed pilot actions in the 4 countries that have participated in the project, in Spain, Italy, Slovenia, and Greece, in different corridors between all these different countries. And we've been addressing 2 different types of traffic, both rural and container freight. And 3 main modes of transport have been integrated in our pilot: road, rail, and maritime. The specific goals have been to facilitate and simplify compliance with regulations, also to improve coordination of public authorities and private operators, and for instance here new methods for simplifying customs controls of intra-community goods traded by sea have been piloted, and now that the project has finished, we can say that some of them have been successfully implemented. We'll see which ones are already fully operated. Then one goal has been also promoting and supporting sustainable intermodal transport solutions. We've been focusing very much on simplifying the use of rail transport from the ports towards the hinterland and providing a set of monitoring services for motorways. The project has been done respecting regulations and trying to implement or moving in the direction of Directive 2010/65 on ship reporting formalities. Also, we've been aware of Regulation 177/2010 on new definition of authorized regular shipping services, and also in contact with authorities such as EMSA and CAF. As we said, 4 different member states have participated in MoS, Spain, Italy, Slovenia, and Greece, and 6 port authorities have been very much involved in the project: Port of Piraeus, Koper, Livorno, Salerno, Barcelona, and Valencia. There were 28 partners in the MoS consortium, among which 6 ports, the previously mentioned ones, 3 shipping lines, Grimaldi Group, Neptune Lines, and Arcas, and we also had external companies that have participated in the pilot, even if they have not been co-financed by the 10T funds, such as NSC, Maersk Line, Seagull, and others. There were 2 railway operators participating in the project, 2 inland terminals, 5 private operators representing both shipping agencies and freight forwarders, 4 technological centers, 5 innovation, development and training centers, and a public administration, the Italian Ministry for Transport and Infrastructure. Customs, particularly in Italy and Spain, have also participated very much in this project, but again, they were not partners of it. They participated at their own company. So the coordinator of this project has been Jose Garcia. He'll be talking to you again about the initiatives that have been prototyped and piloted in this action. So the coordinator has been the Port Authority of Valencia. Then the Port Authority of Valencia has been supported by the Coordinating Project Office at Valencia Port Foundation and by the Communication Project Office at Escola Europea of Surfaces. We had a project board that had to review all the deliverables and take important decisions in the management of the project. The project board has been composed of all the companies that you can see here, 10 members in total. And then we had 5 activity leaders responsible for carrying out the different activities. These activity leaders had to report to the project board. The project board informed the General Assembly where all the partners were participating. And again, the project office was in charge of compiling the reports, managing every day-to-day the project and reporting to the project board and to the TEN-T executive agency via the coordinator. A very important institution, part of the quality control of the project, has been the peer review group. We have 13 reviewers chaired by Professor Valencia de Oliveira, European Coordinator for Motorways of the Sea, and vice-chaired by Captain Gisela Riera Anselmo, who is Principal Administrator of TEN-T Policy at DG MoS. Also in this peer review group, we had 4 ministry representatives, 1 per country, 4 ICT experts, since most of the initiatives that have been developed regarding IT technology pilots, and finally representatives of end users. Five activities have been carried out in MoS. The first one was the MoS master plan. We started analyzing the current status of motorways of the sea in the Mediterranean, identifying problems that are still affecting these motorways of the sea corridors, bottlenecks that are still suffered in all these corridors, and then we looked at a whole range of possible solutions that could help us alleviating these bottlenecks or solving those problems that have been identified. We did a feasibility study of all the different solutions, and then we selected the ones that could be piloted and probably implemented in the short term and that could provide the best results. Those initiatives that were selected have been prototyped in Activity 2, then piloted and demonstrated to the public in Activity 3. And in Activity 4, the focus has been to communicate the results of the project to the public, mainly to the port communities and all the private operators that could benefit from all these initiatives if they were to be implemented. As part of Activity 4, we also had a training sub-activity. 13 training modules have been produced by Escola Europea of Sources Shipping and a few other companies participating in this sub-activity. Finally, in Activity 5, we have mainly dedicated our efforts to managing and organizing all this work. Here you can see all the milestones that have been produced. At the beginning of the project, our goal was to have a deliverable for each activity and then particular demonstrations of each pilot. Here you can see that initially we had aimed at piloting 3 different initiatives. At the end of the project we did 15. So That has also been a measure of success of this project. We started with a strategic planning approach and carrying out a master plan for the development of motorways of the sea in the Mediterranean concerning IT solutions that could solve problems that have been identified. So we did a diagnosis of the current situation in the Mediterranean. We defined the mission, vision, and values for MoS and for our consortium. Then the strategic lines, strategic objectives were defined for the global project. And as a result, we selected 15 different initiatives that could help solve particular problems that have been identified. Finally, we also devised a tool for the control and follow-up of all this work. So the mission of the project has been making motorways of the sea simpler, safer, more efficient, developing door-to-door solutions via improving the use of information, knowledge creation, business facilitation, and collaboration. All of these had to result in cost reductions, simple regulation compliance, and more interoperable solutions. And our vision was creating a collaborative environment of at least 28 partners, plus all the external institutions and companies that have also participated in this action. This network should provide innovative monitoring and operation services, both for the public and private in this sector of motorways. The project seeks common, efficient, safe, secure, sustainable, and environmentally friendly processes, and we aim at achieving interoperable systems that facilitate knowledge. 4 different strategic lines were defined. The first one is to convert ports into efficient gateways. Second one, increase short sea capacities, not necessarily increasing infrastructure capacity, but making the existing infrastructure much more efficient. Fostering intermodal transport solutions and achieving green freight corridors. This is the strategic map that was defined at the beginning of the project. You can see all the different 15 different strategic objectives. These different objectives were linked to the 4 strategic lines, and by achieving these objectives and strategic lines, we hope to be moving in the direction of achieving our vision and mission. And here you can see all the different relationships of the 15 initiatives that were proposed as a result of the strategic planning process. So I'll leave the floor to Jose Garcia, who will be telling you much more about all these things.
Okay. So here I am again. As Eva has said, most of MoS project was not focused on making an enormous single system to solve all the problems of motorways of the sea in Europe. The focus was completely different. The focus was, okay, we have systems in many places, we have good systems, we have good ideas, good things working. How can we make small actions, quick wins in a short term to add a lot of value for the chain? That was the idea. That was why we have 15 initiatives that have been shown in the map. Okay, we see the map that Eva has shown before. We have activities related to port, related to customs, related to all the chain, related to containers, related to railway. Okay, there are many points where we could do small things to improve how we were working and to improve the throughput of the chain. Okay, not trying to make an enormous trans-European system solving everything, okay, which will be very good, but it will cost a lot of time, money, involving all the countries and everything, but trying, okay, in the corridors we have, with the systems that we have, how we can improve several things to be better. That's why we are right having 15 initiatives, okay? The focus of the initiatives was so simple as how can we work in our port at port level to improve that? How can we work cooperating port to port, as we did, for instance, between Valencia and Livorno? How can we work on the land side? Okay, improving what we have from the port to the hinterland. Or if being more ambitious, are there some initiatives we can carry out for doing door-to-door improvements? Okay, maybe there we can do something. And that way was how we defined all the chain and where we had to put all these initiatives that were proposed by the different partners. Okay, the first initiative was the first range of initiatives was the port level initiative. We had 4 of them: intra-community customs paperless control. How we can improve this thing of customs that is only just stopping traffic? Okay, and that's a joke. Please understand me. How can we carry out the electronic ship formalities? This thing that we have, which now is mandatory, Directive 65/2010. All the ports know very well. Okay. How can we communicate with collaborative solutions with within the ports? And how can we improve the automatic gates that we have? Not building an automatic gate. How can we improve them? Where can we add value with this simple one? Okay. We have also worked between pairs of ports, vessel georeferenced alerts. How can we automatically add value to the information we have of the vessel going there? We are not going to define an AIS system. We are going to define how to add value from this information that we have. Port traceability going on the same philosophy, RFID. Okay. How can we put RFID to improve this process we have in the terminals? And the electronic T2L, which has been, especially in Spain, a revolution of how we work with intra-European traffic. Looking at the other side of the port, not to the sea but to road and to train, how can we plan the traffic in the corridor? How can we manage our railway stations, which is something that is not simple? How can we interface from the port to the railway? And how can we manage the information of the users of the railway, covering all the 4 different visions of the traffic from the port to the hinterland. Of course, we have door-to-door initiatives, traceability for automotive logistics. We have a couple of new car terminal operators which are worried of how to manage all this flow of cars from the inland camps or inland factories to the port and the reverse way. Okay. How can we stimulate the use of short sea shipping or motorways of the sea for consolidation services? Okay. Consolidated cargo is a very specific way of working where sea is not winning the battle against road. And multimodal paperless workflows, how can we improve them? Okay. Here is how we group the initiatives. The first initiative is electronic ship formalities. The partner leader in this initiative was Port of Piraeus. It's trying to demonstrate how a port so singular as Piraeus, which has a huge number of vessels because of the communication with ferry boats to the islands. I think it's one of the ports with more vessel calls in the world. Okay, not in terms of amount of traffic, but it has a lot of different kind of vessels, different calls, are very different to manage. Okay, the idea was to cover all the needs they have for all the formalities that the shipping line has to send to the authorities because of Directive year 2010, which will be mandatory in Europe in a couple of years. Okay? And all this information, how to manage it and how to have a system in the Port Authority to solve that. Okay, the shift formalities prototype will be supported by the ICT platform they already have. They are not building a new platform, they are just improving the platform they have to do this. Okay, following the appropriate adaptation according to the business to administration requirements. Here they work not only the Port of Piraeus, but also shipping lines, shipping agencies, the University of Piraeus, even they make the test not only in Piraeus but also in Koper in Slovenia. Okay. The second initiative was the extension of these systems to have port collaborative solutions. Okay. The idea was, okay, we don't have a PCS like the big ports in the world. That was the reflection of Piraeus. We need some help to build a tool, not for us to manage information, but for the port community, this is the embryo of a port community system. Okay, implementing all these functionalities for traceability and vessel management they needed at the port. Okay. The areas of intervention here are port gateways and port to port, two of them. Okay, and improving control efficiency and port traceability. Same actors as before, Port of Piraeus and Port of Luka Koper in Slovenia. We're working on that. Okay, and they managed to do that, extending the Port of Piraeus Authority ICT platform they have. Another important thing was, okay, we've been working for many years for improving how we manage customs procedure. We were focusing on the traffic we have with America, with Asia, with Africa, international traffic. The problem is that we have forgot for many years that we have a lot of traffic inside of Europe. When you do it by road or by rail, you have no problem. There are no frontiers. But the problem from intra-community traffic, when you are within Europe, going from Greece to Italy, from Italy to Spain, from Spain to France, is that the vessel is going out of the European Union in the sea and getting into the European Union. And you have to do some kind of things, okay? When you, I explained you before in Port of Valencia, when you are loading a vessel, you check the list, okay, and you can see that everything is authorized because you have customs documents. The problem here is that all this information is not for European traffic, so you have to justify that works. So two initiatives were made for this, this one and the 2TL one. We linked this justification of European information in the cargo manifest which is sent to the Port Authority, and we linked it with the authorization system of customs to tell them that these goods are European goods. Okay, for the customs police to say, okay, this is authorized. Okay. It was even more important in some ports when we are talking about transshipment. Transshipment is a process which was not very usual with general cargo, but with containers is very useful. I can tell you that about 75% of the containers moving in the world take at least 2 ships from origin to destination, from port of origin to port of destination. So they have a port of transshipment. Valencia is one of the big ports of transshipment in the Mediterranean. So when you are transshipping between non-European cargo, it's very easy to manage. But when you are transshipping from out of Europe to Europe or between European ports, you must know it, and it has been linked with the system. So we improved our systems just to do this and go off with the implementation. We also link this to the automatic gate system. This is a photo of a real operation of the automatic gate system in the port. Okay, so all the road traffic, typical motorways of the sea traffic, was included in the automatic gate check, not only as it was before, only the containers. So we improved the automatic gate system, we improved the PCS within the MoS initiatives, okay, just to facilitate the transit of the road traffic, motorways of the sea in the port of Valencia. Okay, I'll see the video. Okay, I'll try. We can try to see a small video of how it's working in real operation. Here we can see with a typical operation. Okay, typical operation of containers which are now going out of the terminal, okay, of the port terminal. Inside of the port, we are going to the main gate of the terminal. We can see the central operations center of the port where we can check everything that happens on real time in the port. So this truck is going from this terminal. We've seen now it's going to the main gate of the port, which is this one you can see in the video. Okay, for the where the customs check is made automatically. Okay, you can see the gates are open or which are not. This truck is entering the gate. The barrier opens. The truck enters to the gate, and the cameras can read the container number and the truck plate. Okay, here we see how the customs police can see each of the exit lines. Okay, where are the trucks, what happened, if they are authorized or not. Okay, and this is the operation of all the trucks getting there. No matter if they are container or not. If they are not container ones, of course the system cannot read the container number, but we have information from the terminal and we know which goods are loaded on that truck. Okay, in real time. So the gate system knows that. Okay. We can get in there, we can see the different lines, detect exactly where each truck is. Okay, we can see this is a non-container one. Okay, we can stop the video here. So, oops, I'm sorry. Okay. Another, in talking about port to port one, we notice that we have a lot of initiatives and a lot of ports that have AIS system. It is mandatory all Europe. We can see in very beautiful map systems where the vessels are. Even you can see in many systems that are open in the internet, where is that vessel, where is that other vessel, we can find them. If we pay more, we can get more accurate information. But we are not operating this information many times. We have it there, but we are not adding value. What we tried with this prototype of geo-referenced alerts is trying to get all the information we have from the AIS and other system and generate automatically the alerts which are needed by the user. For instance, if I'm a fuel provider and I have to provide the vessel of fuel when it comes to the port, it will be very good for me when the vessel is 3 miles from the port. So I know it's coming. Okay, and I can prepare the operation. For pilots, for importers, it's also important. Okay, they really know that it's coming, and each one of them can define a different kind of alerts. Alert mapping system was defined, okay, and it was piloted and was working quite well. The leader of this initiative was Indra, okay, Indra Sistemas. We also improved our tracking and tracing systems, adding new sources of information. We work together, Port of Livorno and Port of Valencia, exchanging automatically tracking operational information between both ports. it is important for instance, for Spanish exporters to know that the track has been downloaded in Livorno, because they can notice, they can call the importer in Italy, say, okay, that is going to be there in 2 hours, and so on and so forth. Okay. Also, new transshipment and restore orders were included in terminal operating system in Luca Copper in this initiative. Okay. And we enlarged this traceability database, sharing it between different ports. This information was taken also for other several prototypes in the platform. Also, a system defined by Grimaldi lines was tested in the system with the prototype in the RFID traceability roadblock units. This was the partners involved were Fundación Valencia por Atlantica di Navigazione, which is the shipping agency from Grimaldi Group and Port Authority of Salerno and Livorno, and Interpol Toscano. They share the same RFID technology, so they share also the information between all the points, just to know where the cargo units are on each and every moment. We can see the video in Livorno, for instance, which is some great Tuscany's American speaking Interporto, okay, which is an inland railway port, very important. This is port of Livorno, and both of them were linked with this information. So you can see a track there with the RFID tag on board, which is a passive RFID, very cheap and very manageable, and not fixing the track. Okay, just for the operation between the Interporto and the port. Okay. Interporto is basically an inland terminal. Okay. And at the gates, they know, they prepare all the information for the track, okay, with the RFID, which also has a barcode as a backup. So the track can put 2 RFIDs, one which is a seal, okay, and another which identifies the track head. So when it gets to the gate, it's unattended, the system checks and it opens. Everything's ready for the operation. Okay, so in the system they have for operating, so Interporto as the terminal in the port of Livorno, they have all the information, it goes by road, and they know everything that happens there. In Italy, railway infrastructure usually doesn't arrive to the port. That's why they have this Interport. Or cannot be it. So if the seal is clear, not spread. And they know that the cargo unit has not been opened between the Interporto and the port. Okay, never mind if it has done 100 kilometers by road. One of the most important items defined in MoS for MoS was the electronic T2L intra-community freight formalities. I told you in a prototype before that we improved our systems to offer the information of traceability and custom permissions for the intra-community goods. But at the origin of that, we must have the customs involved. When a piece of cargo moves all along to Europe, okay, if it's European Union cargo, it doesn't need a customs declaration. But if you go by sea, you have to justify with something that saying that this cargo is European. A trustable document, which is generated by the customs of origin. Okay, if you imagine you manufacture a container of shoes in Spain, you are exporting to Greece by vessel. When you get to Greece customs, you have to show this paper saying, okay, these are Spanish shoes. No customs control, no taxes, no anything. But the problem is, this was defined 40 years ago. You have to move a paper with the cargo. Are you saying the truth? Okay, it's what happens in many countries. And the paper has to be sent by air mail to the destination just to check that. So we convinced electronic customs, Spanish customs, to do this electronic. We made a test with them, we convinced them. And after MoS project, this is a reality in Spain. Now you can do in the website of the customs agency of Spain, you can define the electronic T2L, and you can send it electronically to the customs of destination. You don't need to print a paper. You don't need to do anything, okay? And there's an agreement. Now there are only 3 countries in Europe doing this: Estonia, Belgium, and Spain, which has this capability, okay? So at the end, test in this project, test and pilot of electronic channel to submit the electronic T2L was made in the system with a similar technical definition of what we had before. A website managed by the Spanish tax agency receiving information of the electronic T2L. Okay, now it's a reality, and it links to the export and import paperless procedures at ports. So when you are loading a vessel with Spanish goods and you have made the electronic T2L, it automatically links with the work order, you remember, to load the vessel. Not how to go with the paper or saying any other thing, but it's fully automatic. Okay, I think we have not many time, I'll go faster. We have a corridor strategic plan monitoring system, COSPAM, which was made by the Italian partners to improve the traffic all along Italy, from the ports to inland. Continental Rail, which is an ACS group railway company, which is now moving more than 50% of import and export railway containers in Port of Valencia. They defined a new functionality for their system to operate the trains in order to receive electronically the work orders. Okay. Also, in Port of Valencia and Port of Barcelona, we define the rail port interfaces in order to let the container terminals know which containers have to go to the railway zone or not, which is something not simple. If you are unloading 2,000 containers from a vessel, you must know what to do with the containers. If you are putting them there because they are going to be picked by road, or they are going to go to the other way because they are going to a vessel, or the other way because they have to go to the railway station. Okay, so which container has to be anywhere was managed there. This was extended with the initiative Rail E-Ways, working with the loading and unloading lists of the containers. It was led by Barcelona. We are working, Port of Valencia working also there with Renfe and all the other operators. Just giving the orders of loading and unloading the trains, not only in the port, but also in the inland stations, Coslava in Madrid, Roñigal in Madrid, in PNC in Zaragoza and many others. Okay, it was checked also by by Port of Livorno and Interport of Toscano, which have used the same standard as we have defined in Spain. So it's quite good for the future of interconnectivity of railways from Spain to abroad. which is something that sounds like a dream at this moment. Okay, as we told you before, automotive logistics was improved basically leading from auto terminal, which is the largest car terminal in Europe. Okay, it's in Port of Barcelona. It manages all the export side of SEAT motor car company. Okay, it was also checked in Port of Livorno, Port of Valencia, and Port of Salerno, and many others. Okay, what they did there is to use all the pieces of information, all the pieces, small pieces of information that they could get from other services from the internal system to offer a traceability system for terminals, shipping agents, and for the final customer. The idea was to give accurate on-time information to the sales point of the car, to the shop, to know when the car is going to be available. Okay, because at this moment of crisis that they don't sell very much, it is very important to convince the customer that tomorrow they can have the car. With this, they know. Another initiative which was conceptually very important for us was the one involving the NVOCCs, non-vessel operator common carriers, which basically they commercialize maritime services for less than a container load. Okay, they contract full containers to the carriers and sell for small cargo. They have small customers. So what they did is, okay, we are going to appear in the electronic world the same as a shipping line, okay, with the same functionalities of booking, shipping instructions, transport orders, so on and so forth, but automatically linked from the less than container side to the container side, to the full container side. Okay, so these LCL shipments, less than container load shipments, from road to motorways of the sea, can be managed electronically, which is something which is very innovative at this moment. Okay, so these consolidation centers can be linked to their customers electronically. It was led by IFS, International Forwarding Services, which is a company which is a neutral consolidator. Okay, they don't sell to final customer, just to other freight forwarders, and by some shipping lines and ports and operators. I can tell you that this initiative has been checked by 4 of the 10 largest shipping lines in the world, because they believe that this is a commercialization channel they have to improve at this moment. Okay, because these people is managing more and more cargo every day. Okay, also it was made that going to the door-to-door side from the freight forwarder to its customer, it was checked a solution led by Asta Logistic Group, which is a big Spanish freight forwarder, in order to check electronically how they link to the final customer, okay, with interoperable solutions linked to the PCS and so on. And this is more or less explanation of the initiatives that you can have in the materials afterwards and if you need that. Now I give the floor again to Eva Perez, which will explain us the cost benefits analysis.
Okay. So we carried out a cost-benefit analysis. The goal was to have an analysis of the net benefits or costs that could be used by each initiative. The rationale is that private partners need to know about the financial profitability of each sub-project and the risk involved before starting prototyping it, investing in the prototype, and then piloting this initiative. In some cases, some private partners may even need to ask for bank loan, and then the bank would again be looking at what's the financial profitability of investing in this kind of initiative. And for public partners, they would only invest in initiatives with a positive socioeconomic profitability and acceptable risks, because otherwise there is an opportunity cost and we will be decreasing social welfare. So we follow the methodology that has been proposed by the European Commission. So we follow the guide to cost-benefit analysis for investment projects. All the input data have been based on measurements before the pilots and during the pilots, so that we could compare the time that would be saved in different processes and also the costs involved. And also we've done personal interviews with key informants that could tell us much more about the procedures and the kind of impact that they would have on the company and on their suppliers or customers. So we've been looking at the modifications in the operational earnings and costs of the different initiatives, and the potential increases and decreases in earnings and costs have been measured. For each initiative, we estimated the investment that would be needed to implement it, the costs and the earnings or income that would be generated, and we've also valued potential positive or negative externalities. So we've been programming a tool to simulate the cost-benefit analysis for each initiative and producing three main results: the net present value, the internal rate of return, and the payback. Well, I'm going to skip some of these slides because we're doing quite badly for time, but basically they're just telling you about these financial or socioeconomic indicators that have been the results of the analysis. We've also done a dynamic scoring, so all the input parties can be altered and the results are immediately recalculated, and we've included stochastic models. Again, I'm going to keep all of this. We've done a simulation of more than 1 million interactions, so that the result is not only the net present value of this implementation that is 10 million euros, but we can see the whole range of results that could be produced if all the worst hypotheses get combined. We know that the net profit would be always higher than 10 million euros. In the best case scenario, they would be around 50 million euros, but as you can see, the largest probability would be obtained for results between 15 and 25 million euros of net debt. So we estimated the investment for all the different companies involved in these initiatives. Here you can see that the authorities that would be investing the most are actually customs, that would have to invest 37% of the total, port authorities with almost 28% of the total investment, and then the third largest group would be shipping agents and sea carriers. The net benefits generated have also been estimated for each type of company. Here you can see that the companies benefiting the most of the implementation of MoS for MoS would be shipping agents and sea carriers, and freight forwarders and neutral consolidators. Then we also have important benefits for rail terminals, or terminal operators, customs, border fleets, rail freight operators, or road haulers. These are the results of the pre-cost benefit analysis prior to the implementation of all these initiatives that we did in September 2011. We're going to look at the results at the end of the project. Here they are. If all these 15 initiatives are implemented, and many of them have already been put in practice, the net present value is more than 20.5 million. For every euro of pension co-financing that we have received, more than 7.28 euros net benefit could be generated, and these have been calculated using very conservative hypotheses. For instance, we assume that the traffic, the intra-community traffic by sea, would only increase by 2% annually. This is a very conservative value, as the growth rate has been always higher than 5%, even during the crisis period. We've also we've not included the cost of fraudulent practices that at times can be avoided with all the increased controls that MoS allows. One example how we did the cost-benefit analysis for the implementation of the electronic seat well in the ports of Barcelona, Valencia, and Salerno. Our result was 2.7 million euros of net present value. Obviously, Spanish customs will not implement this kind of practice only for the ports of Barcelona and Valencia instead. When they have put this initiative in practice, they've done it for all Spanish ports. So when customs did their own cost-benefit analysis, their net present value is 39 million euros. So when you compare both figures, you can realize that the 20 million euros we were given for only for the ports and port communities participating in the project has been very much undervalued. So if anything, the net benefits generated by MoS will be much, much higher. At the end of the project, we measured all the key performance indicators for the different initiatives that have been piloted, and all these initiatives were linked to the 15 different strategic objectives that we had defined in the master plan. As you can see, for 9 of those strategic objectives, we obtained a green value using the balance scorecard tool, and for 6 of them, we obtained yellow values, meaning that adequate progress has been obtained towards the achievement of all these goals. All the 4 strategic lines show green values, again, meaning that MoS has effectively contributed to improving the situation of motorways of the sea in the Mediterranean. We'll leave you with a video of the project that, again, wraps up all the presentations that we've done. So that is all. As we said here, this wouldn't have been possible without the co-financing of the European Union and the support of our peer reviewers, the agency that has been monitoring the project, and without the strong commitment of all the partners that have been involved in all the work that has been carried out in this project. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much to Eva Pérez and to José García for the nice presentation of this very interesting Senti co-finance project and for the presentation of the very important work of Valencia. We are just on time, so we will put within the learning management system the presentation and the different videos that because of the time limitations we have not been able to follow this presentation, but they will be in the learning management system. And I don't know if you have time for questions, or I know you are a little bit pressed, so we will continue to be in contact. And once again, thank you very much for your help with our project. Now we will cut the connection and come back in 5 minutes, in about 5 minutes, with the next presentation about the Green Cranes project. Thank you. And I hope that from Sweden, Germany, Greece, Italy, and Portugal, you are following us. We continue with our connection in about 5 minutes. Thank you to all of you.